Welcome back. Today the topic will be to cover class and how a class is being created in Kotlin, how a class is being used, what are the constructors and other stuff. So first of all, we need to create a new project using IntelliJ. You can just go to IntelliJ, create new project, select Kotlin, console application, and then press next. So once you do that, IntelliJ will create a project for you with this main function and main file. Now, the next thing that you need to do is go over here to the project panel and then go to source, then main, and then Kotlin. Now, right click over here and then create a Kotlin class, and you can name it as Aquarium. Okay, so now you created a class with name Aquarium. The next thing will be to create some properties for the class. Let's say you have some width for you for this, which is an integer, and the default value can be set to 20. Now again, you have a height variable, which is also an int, and it has 40 as height. Now the next thing will be length, and the length can be set to 100. Now you have these properties set for the Aquarium class, and now if you go back to the main, what you can do is you can just create a Aquarium using by this. So now you can see that this thing has been created, and you can also print the length of the Aquarium. So you can call the variable methods from Aquarium class that you created. So like I just use the length. You can call anything like width and stuff. And now if you try to click play and then run this, you can just see that the output will be shown over here. Basically the output is executed. Yeah, you can see this 20 is over there. Now if I use it with length and then I try to run it, you can see 100. Now this is very basic, and now we created a class which has these three properties, width, height, and length. Now let's say we want to print the size of this Aquarium, and we want to create a function for this specific class. So what we'll do, we'll just create a function and name it as print size, and inside that will be print ln. We'll be using width along with $, and we'll be using width. So we actually use this as centimeter, and we add a plus sign, and then also for length, length, and then we have length, and basically width, length in centimeters, and now height, which can be this. So we have this function which we have created for this. And now if you go back to over here, and what we can do is we can call this method for this class, and we can say print size. Now if we execute this, you'll be able to see this specific section is being printed over here. And the next thing is like setting some other properties into this, let's say into this Aquarium file other than default value. So we can just, what we can do is we'll print the size first when the value is default created by with the default values, and then we'll set some values for the width. Let's say I'll use maybe 60, and now I'll use aquarium dot print size again. So that's just to verify if changing those value can change it. So there's just one more thing I want to get rid of. Yeah, now let's just try again to see. You can see this, that previously the width was 20 but now the width is 60, and you can do it again with this thing. So this was a very generic class with a function, only one function. The next thing will be restricting the user to give some values for these things. Like definitely we have these values and assign, but we want some initial value ones while creating this class. So for that the thing is that basically comes into action is the constructor. So basically how can you define a constructor in a Kotlin? Normally in Java what you can do is just type in public and the class name exactly, but for Kotlin you can do is you can just get all this to the top, and then you can say length as integer, width as integer, and height as integer, and then you can just assign those values to this section. So you got this thing over here, and now when you come to the main it will start showing you error. So basically a no value for height is passed, we'll just pass 30. For width we are also passing 30, and then for length we are passing 200, and the width and length height is 30 and 30. So these properties are being assigned. Now if I try to run this code again, you can see that now it took length as 30, 230, and then while changing it just updated it. Now this is one thing. Right now we just created a constructor and then we assigned those values to this, but you can see even the compiler is also showing an error, a warning saying that you can move this thing to constructor. So basically what you can do is you can just add a key to this over here and get rid of this thing. Now you can actually use those variables inside the class, but now they will be defined in the constructor. So basically this is how you can also reduce the size. Now you can see that the size is being reduced, the variables are like went onto top of the constructor, and from that constructor only from there we can use it. Now we can just go again and try to run it, and you can see that it will work fine. Now let's say you want like some optional from default values for the aquarium as well. Let's say like previously we had for length we had 100 as a default value, for width we had 20, and for height we had also 20. So we got this default value over here, and now from the main, let's say you don't want to specify the height, you can just say so width equals to 30, and then you can say height equals to 30. So basically you can just define height and width rather than defining all the property, or even you can create an aquarium with just no property, so it will just create a default one for you. So this is how you guys can like use this. I'll just try to print one with the default value and one with the one default and two different value that I actually passed. So this is how you can like create some optional constructor values. The next thing for this class is to like we can have a init method as well. So let's say when the class is being created, we want to print size for that class rather than, or maybe we can print something like print aquarium is being created. So we got this thing. Now we try to run this and see if it does. So basically what we did is we created one aquarium, and then there is another one created, and then the properties are being called. So let's say I'll just width width dollar and width. So basically what I did is just updated a string, so just to identify which aquarium is being created. Like this one is with 30 and this default one should be with 20. So now if we try to run it, you can see that the aquarium with 30 is being created first, like over here, and then with 20 is created over here, and then we got this print size for each one of them. So this is how you can like create some init block for a class. And the next thing is like having secondary constructors. Like you definitely have this one constructor over here in the aquarium. Now let's say you have some other thing, like you might need a constructor with number of fish for an aquarium. So how are you going to do that? So for that, what you can do is you can just create a constructor and you can create a number of fish with defining the value. So this is how you can create a constructor. This. Okay, so what does this mean? Basically this constructor is a keyword again, and now you have this number of fish, which is an integer, and then you got this. It means that this constructor will be, it is basically extended from this function. So what you can do is you can just maybe do some stuff, maybe print print ln, and you can pass number of fish into this. So now over here with this aquarium I can maybe pass 30, and I'll try to run it. I'll see what happens. That aquarium is being created with width with some default value, and then this 30 is the number of fishes that I actually sent into this. What happened actually, it basically this constructor was responsible to call this constructor. Let's say these default values are not there, then we definitely need to pass in the values into this as well. So this is a little bit about constructor. You can have multiple constructor inside one class. You can have a constructor with multiple parameters, and this is how you are supposed to handle. Now the next thing is defining some getter setter properties for a specific variable inside class. So let's say we have a volume, var volume, which is an integer value, and now we want to set some getter for it. Now you can see when you type in get under that variable, you have these three options, and you can use any one of them. When you use this, you need to assign the width. You can just like use a formula, width into height into length divided by 100. So for the default value, what we did is this, and for a getter, what we can use this. And if we want to have a set, you can just have a set value, and inside under that what you can do is height, which is equals to values into 1000 divided by width into length. So basically this is also for 0, and now since we are setting the setter, we don't need this one. So now you can see that we got this setting the values based on the volume. So like we got the volume from this, and we actually set the height once the volume is being updated based on the value which is being set to this volume section. So this is how you are supposed to get and set values for a specific variable. And now what we can do, like in the main, you can just say aquarium dot volume equals to 70, and now if you check this, let's just get rid of these print size. Okay, now I just updated the volume, and this update volume should actually affect the height as well. Since I am setting the value in the setter, I'm actually updating the height. So now let's just run it and see if actually does the job. Like previously we had 30 with the width, 100 with the length, and 30 with the height. But once we actually set the volume, it just updated it to 23. So it just updated based on the calculation which actually it did. So this was a little bit about classes now and constructors. Now the next thing is about basically access modifier or visibility modifier, and what is a visibility modifier is like these properties that we have, from where these can be accessed, or either they can be accessed or not. So by default, if there is no specifier defined for a variable in Kotlin, it means that this is public. But we also have some other properties like private, protected, and internal. So let's say if we want to make it private, now this length variable, width variable, and height variable is not accessible outside this class. Like I can use this over here, but let's say in the main section over here, if I try to get the height, I'm not able to get that because that property is now private. Now let's say we have protected. A protected means that it is actually kind of a private if you are not using public inheritance. But if you have inheritance involved, then it only child element and the class can access this. Let's say we have a class. Let's say we create a child class of this aquarium class. Maybe we can name it glass aquarium. So we got this thing. Now we want to extend this class. Now you can see that it says that you need to change the class open. So basically by default, all the classes in Kotlin when created are closed classes. So if you want the class to be extended by another class, you need to make it open. It means that now this class is able to access, and now you can just add a constructor invocation to this. Now any property, let's say I am initting, now any property from the parent class can be used, can be accessed if it's protected. Now for example, we have this length over here and width. Length is protected and the width is private. So if I try to get length, I'm accessible to get the length over here. But if I try to get width, I'm not able to do that because that property is private. So basically only these two properties are accessible over here, the length and the volume, not the width. Now let's just try to convert this one to protected as well. Now the width should also be accessible. Now you can see that we have width, length, and volume. So that's the major difference between a public, private, and protected. That's it for today, and we'll be talking about classes in our next video. We'll be looking into inheritance and abstract classes in one of our next videos. So till then, stay tuned, and I'll see you on the other side.